The one fix that would have redeemed Big Bang Theory's divisive finale. For 12 years, The Big Bang Theory dominated television as the sitcom that celebrated nerd culture, scientific curiosity, and the absurdities of friendship, love, and adulting. It gave us unforgettable characters like Sheldon Cooper, whose idiosyncratic genius and unflinching honesty became iconic. Leonard, the perpetual straight man to Sheldon's chaos. Penny, the warm, witty bridge between social worlds. And the rest of the ensemble who made up this quirky yet strangely relatable group of friends. Yet, when the series finally drew its curtain in 2019, the finale left a sour taste in the mouths of many fans. For a show that built its reputation on heartfelt moments interspersed with brilliant humor, the conclusion felt divisive, even underwhelming. The finale provided a satisfying arc for Sheldon and Amy. They won a Nobel Prize, but other characters were left with arcs that felt rushed or emotionally hollow. Leonard and Penny's trajectory seemed unremarkable. Howard and Bernadette's family focus overshadowed their comedic chemistry, and even the series' hallmark theme of friendship felt relegated to the background. Fans debated endlessly online, trying to reconcile the satisfying closure of some characters with the missed opportunities of others. And after watching the finale and thinking critically about what the series could have achieved in its last moments, I realized something. There was one fix, just one, that could have redeemed the entire finale. And it wasn't a major rewrite or a new season. It was a subtle yet profound shift in focus. The finale should have centered on the friendships over the romantic pairings. Why the finale failed the friendship test. The Big Bang Theory thrived on its depiction of friendship as a form of intellectual and emotional community. The show's humor was often rooted in how these brilliant, socially awkward characters interacted and supported each other, even if they occasionally drove one another mad. Sheldon and Leonard, for instance, were an unlikely but enduring pair. Sheldon's eccentricities contrasted with Leonard's desire for normalcy, but their bond provided some of the show's richest comedic and emotional moments. Similarly, the shared geek culture among Howard, Raj, and the rest of the group created a sense of belonging that fans could relate to. Nerds everywhere rejoiced in seeing themselves represented. By the finale, however, the emphasis shifted almost exclusively to romantic closure. Sheldon and Amy's Nobel Prize moment dominated the narrative, and while Howard and Bernadette's family expansion was a sweet subplot, it primarily reinforced traditional sitcom tropes rather than the quirky, nerdy dynamics that made the show special. Leonard and Penny's storyline was neatly wrapped up with her pregnancy and a sentimental acknowledgement of their love, but it lacked the depth and humor that characterized their earlier arcs. Raj, unfortunately, was left with the most minimal closure, a trend that has frustrated fans for years. In essence, the finale largely prioritized romantic pairings at the expense of platonic bonds, the true heart of the Big Bang Theory. By doing so, it inadvertently undermined what made the show resonate with audiences in the first place. What the one fix looks like. The fix is deceptively simple. Give the finale's emotional weight to the friendships rather than the couples. Instead of spending the bulk of the episode on Sheldon and Amy at the Nobel ceremony, the finale could have explored the culmination of 12 years of shared experiences, pranks, debates, and awkward hugs. Picture this. The finale opens with the gang in their usual apartment, joking about some absurd scientific theory or debating whether Star Wars or Star Trek has better physics. Leonard makes a sarcastic remark about Sheldon's Nobel aspirations. Howard attempts to impress Bernadette with an over-the-top gesture that fails hilariously. Raj fumbles through his latest romantic disaster. It's familiar, warm, and funny. Then, instead of cutting immediately to the Nobel ceremony as the climax, the episode dedicates significant time to the history of their friendship, the misadventures they've had, the personal growth they've witnessed in each other, and the bonds that have endured despite every ridiculous obstacle. The emotional peak of the finale could still include the Nobel Prize. It doesn't need to vanish, but it would serve as a backdrop to showcase the gang's unity. For example, Sheldon's acceptance speech could be interrupted by the entire group showing up, each delivering a heartfelt, funny toast that reflects their unique relationships with him. Leonard could joke about being Sheldon's unpaid therapist. Howard might reminisce about every failed gadget, and Raj could confess he's learned as much about friendship as he has about science. Amy could smile knowingly, appreciating that while the prize is a monumental achievement, it's the people who got Sheldon there who truly matter. By centering friendship, the finale would accomplish something crucial. It would honor the ensemble equally. Every main character would get a moment to shine, not just the couples. The narrative would validate that The Big Bang Theory wasn't just a story about romance, it was a story about connection, growth, and finding your tribe. How this fix impacts each character. 1. Sheldon Cooper. Instead of focusing purely on romantic fulfillment with Amy, Sheldon's finale arc emphasizes gratitude and recognition of his friends' roles in his life. It's satisfying to see Sheldon give back emotionally to those who've supported him for over a decade, reinforcing his evolution from a selfish genius to someone capable of genuine empathy. 2. Amy Farrah Fowler. Amy's brilliance and emotional intelligence would remain central, but rather than just sharing a romantic high point with Sheldon, she also becomes a mediator and celebrant of friendship, highlighting her importance beyond the romantic subplot. 3. Leonard Hofstadter. Leonard's arc gains depth because it's no longer about ending up with Penny, but about reflecting on his journey with his friends. His intelligence, patience, and dry humor get to shine as essential elements in the group dynamic. 4. Penny Hofstadter. Penny remains the heart of the gang, but her finale moments aren't confined to romantic gestures. Her growth from neighbor to friend to wife is enriched by acknowledging her place in the social fabric of the group. 5. Howard Wolowitz and Bernadette Rostankowski-Wolowitz. Instead of just family milestones, Howard and Bernadette get a chance to reflect on their nerdy misadventures, from Howard's inappropriate jokes to Bernadette's sardonic humor. Their story is about teamwork and friendship as much as romance and parenting. 6. Rajesh Koothrappali. Raj finally gets meaningful closure. By centering friendships, Raj can have a moment where he's valued for his unique quirks, perhaps even a hilarious monologue reflecting on the absurdities of his love life and social anxieties, giving him the recognition he deserves. 7. Supporting characters. Even minor characters like Stuart from the comic book store could have moments that celebrate the extended community that's been part of the gang's lives. Why this fix works emotionally. Friendship is a universal theme that resonates across demographics. Shows like Friends, Parks and Recreation, and How I Met Your Mother have demonstrated that audiences respond powerfully to finales that honor long-term bonds over romantic closure. The Big Bang Theory had spent 12 years cultivating deep audience investment in these friendships, but the finale's primary focus on romantic arcs undermined that investment. By prioritizing the group's connection, the show would have amplified its emotional resonance while maintaining its signature humor. Moreover, this fix respects the intellectual and cultural identity of the series. The Big Bang Theory wasn't just a conventional sitcom, it celebrated nerd culture, geek friendships, and the joy of shared curiosity. A finale focused on friendship allows the show to conclude in a way that is true to its DNA, instead of leaning heavily on tropes that feel conventional or out of step with what made it unique. What fans would remember. Imagine fans walking away from the finale remembering Sheldon's awkward but heartfelt toasts, Leonard's sarcastic wisdom, Howard and Bernadette's comic misadventures, Raj's heartfelt,